So last night, Kamala Harris, as all presidential candidates do, went on 60 Minutes. It's a long-held tradition. Donald Trump decided that he did not want to participate. And I just want to play for you and our listener how they introduced last night's episode of 60 Minutes.
It's been a tradition for more than half a century that the major party candidates for president sit down with 60 Minutes in October. In 1968, it was Richard Nixon and Hubert Humphrey. This year, Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump accepted our invitation. Then, a week ago, Trump backed out. The campaign offered shifting explanations. First, it complained that we would fact-check the interview. We fact-check every story. Later, Trump said he needed an apology for his interview in 2020. Trump claims correspondent Leslie Stahl said in that interview that Hunter Biden's controversial laptop came from Russia. She never said that. Trump has said his opponent doesn't do interviews because she can't handle them. He had previously declined another debate with Harris, so tonight may have been the largest audience for the candidates between now and Election Day.
So he's scared of getting fact-checked.
Absolutely, yes.
He wants this big apology about some lie. And this is just a prime example of what happens when people within the MAGA-verse, that crazy batshit propaganda machine, have to step outside of it into the real world. It doesn't work.
What's interesting is the Republicans are always saying, Kamala won't do an interview. Kamala won't answer questions from the press. And Trump goes on his right-wing media propaganda machine, and they ask him the dumbest questions. He doesn't answer. They try to back him out of, oh, you don't want to be a dictator, do you? Oh, yeah, I want to be a dictator on day one. He cannot take a normal interview. He can't go on ABC or CBS or NBC because all he does is lie. And that is projection like I've never heard it. Number one, he can't answer any questions in an interview that aren't softballs. And number two, I don't think he has the mental capacity to sit for an interview that's substantive.
I don't think he could sit for it, but I think the biggest tell in that is he is terrified of getting fact-checked because
Absolutely.
the entire MAGA movement is based on fear-based lies, and they drum it up to a portion of the American public that is scared shitless of what, I have no idea, but these people are cowardice, and they have the biggest coward of a leader. And let's hear what Kamala had to say in response to this.
You are sitting here with us. Mm-hmm. The Trump campaign canceled an interview that they had agreed to participate in this broadcast. What do you make of that?
If he is not going to give your viewers the ability to have a meaningful, thoughtful conversation, question and answer with you, then watch his rallies. You're going to hear conversations that are about himself and all of his personal grievances. And what you will not hear is anything about you, the listener. You will not hear about how he's going to try to bring the country together, find common ground. And Bill, that is why I believe in my soul and heart the American people are ready to turn the page.
So this is why she is a candidate for president and we could never be. Because she simply and very civilly states, watch one of his rallies and you will hear a conversation about his grievances. If I were in the chair, I would say, Bill, you have got to see the crazy shit going down at these Trump rallies. I mean, this guy is off his rocker. I think he's on drugs. I think he has dementia. He's talking about Hannibal Lecter. He's throwing out all this Nazi-style propaganda, this red meat. He traffics in recreational cruelty. This guy is unhinged. He is dangerous. And I think his supporters are way beyond a basket of deplorables. I mean, but this is why she has the temperament. And it was sometimes those kind of pointed, intelligent attacks are the best. And I think I'm so happy that Kamala Harris is out there giving the internet these little bites because she's competent, she's capable, she's able, and then just a little black cherry for all the MAGA and all of their white supremacist views. She is a woman of color. And I love that component more than anything because she is capable and able, and she didn't benefit from the affirmative action of generational wealth or nepotism.
I absolutely agree with you 100%. The only thing I would add to your comments about what I would have said if I were Kamala Harris is, have you noticed his obsession with flies at his rallies? Is it because of his deep stench emanating off of his body? Or is it his dirty diapers where he's talking about all these flies circling around him? I couldn't have left that out.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I mean, we could be like, vote Jen and Pumps, petty 2024. Okay, so everybody knows the economy is one of the big issues in the race. And globally, after COVID, you had global inflation, a lot of horrible economic statistics that hit all around the globe. The United States fared best. And Bill Whitaker asks Kamala about the economy. And let's hear this clip.
There are lots of signs that the American economy is doing very well. Better than most countries, I think. But the American people don't seem to be feeling it. Groceries are 25% higher, and people are blaming you and Joe Biden for that. Are they wrong?
We now have historic low unemployment in America among all groups of people. We now have an economy that is thriving by all macroeconomic measures. And to your point, prices are still too high.
Pumps, everybody is talking about those weight loss injections because the results are so dramatic. They work by lowering blood sugar and reducing appetite. But what if you need to lose weight, but you don't have the money and don't like the weekly shots? That's why doctors created a weight loss supplement called Lean, and the results are just simply remarkable. The studied ingredients in Lean have been shown to lower your blood sugar, burn fat by converting it into energy, and curb your appetite and cravings, so you're not as hungry. But listen, Lean is not for the casual dieter with only a few pounds to lose. The doctors at BrickHouse Nutrition created Lean for frustrated dieters with 10 or more pounds to lose. Let's get you started with a 15% off and free rush shipping so that you can add Lean to your healthy diet and exercise plan. Visit takelean.com and enter news for your discount. That's promo code news at takelean.com. So what I like so much about Kamala's answer is, number one, she states the facts that the United States economy by every metric is doing very well, with the exception of inflation, which is still hitting people in grocery stores. If the Republicans were able to run on the economy as it is right now, it would be victory lap city. But all the Republicans can run on. And when I say Republicans, I want you to know I'm talking about MAGA, because every sane Republican has already left the party and they're voting for Kamala in a mass exodus, the likes of which the world has never seen. But the economy is strong. The fundamentals of the economy are strong. Is there still work to do? Absolutely there is. The biggest myth that Republicans have always perpetuated is this bullshit trickle-down economics. Republicans always wreck the economy. Always. They always wreck it. Look at George W. Bush. Look at Donald Trump. Donald Trump came into office with the Obama economy still on an uptick after the meltdown that George Bush created. And then it took years to build that back up. And then once the Trump policy started hitting, we started to see a recession in manufacturing jobs. Then, of course, the complete botched COVID situation. Then the Democrats have to come in, clean everything up again. This is a strong economy. And I know it's not strong for everybody, but for those listeners that are working class listeners, the Republican Party does not offer you more income equality. They offer you less. The minimum wage needs to be raised. MAGA Republicans wouldn't even consider it because that would hurt the 0.0001%. And so I'm so glad that Kamala was so pointed on her answer about the economy.
One thing that drives me crazy is with Trump particularly is how his policies are so great. And he's going to run the country like he runs his business. Let me just tell you something, folks. Donald Trump inherited $400 million from Daddy, and he's had to dip into that because he loses money with every business, not to mention tax fraud for the corporation, not to mention defrauding the state of New York in the hundreds of millions of dollars. And my very favorite point, he bankrupted running a casino. That doesn't happen. 6 bankruptcies, some in large part to running a casino. No one in the history of the world has ever bankrupted a casino except Donald Trump.
Not to mention this component. He is the biggest grifter on the planet.
Yes.
He trots out all these riffraffs and knickknacks on True Social to all of these poor followers of his that are just like, I don't know, like completely consumed with this man. It's the weirdest shit ever. But I just read an article recently that on True Social, other grifters are on there. And all of those ads you see are also total scams and total grifts. The entire website, mark my words, there is going to end up being some criminal charges and criminal investigations into True Social and the grift that's going on there. Furthermore, I think all of the court cases that we see right now, if Kamala Harris wins this race, it's just going to be the tip of the iceberg. Yeah. I want to know where all this RNC money is going. Why are the billionaires, Melania and Donald Trump, selling necklaces, Bibles, tennis shoes,
MAGA
books,
balls?
Yeah, all this weird, the Trump trout thing. I mean,
the Trump trout, it just blows my mind.
Could you imagine if Kamala Harris on her website was grifting all this stuff? Can you imagine the meltdown on right-wing Twitter?
Can you imagine the meltdown on right-wing Twitter if she was running around talking about the economy and the working class and then trying to schlep off a $200 watch for $100,000?
Yeah, I totally forgot about the watches.
It's unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. And I think he did the watch so that foreign adversaries could invest in his campaign.
Right, with crypto.
It's unbelievable how immoral this person is. And again, listener, I can understand a singular immoral person. But what we have to reconcile as a nation are the millions of people that love this brand of recreational cruelty. And the most dangerous thing about Donald Trump is his language and his messaging that is very reminiscent, and I would say in lockstep, with the language and messaging of Adolf Hitler in the 1930s with the rise of Nazi Germany. They identify a group of people for everyone to hate, and they demonize them, they dehumanize them, and people back then got their teeth sunk into it. They liked the cruelty of that. And you see that going on right now with immigrants. Donald Trump's, when he's coherent, the language has gotten darker, crazier, crueler, and you see his audience lap it up. Yeah. But I want to juxtapose everything we just discussed about Kamala Harris's slam dunk of a 60-minute interview with what Donald Trump did on the same evening. Here he is, a little clip with Laura Ingraham.
Allow it to go in, and it took 2 days, and then Boot Edge, as you said, Boot Edge called, and I guess...
What the fuck was that?
That is a candidate for the president of the United States trying his hardest to pronounce Secretary Pete Buttigieg's name. So he had to say
Boot
edge, as they say. And I want to remind everybody, this is a candidate for president of the United States for the 3rd time in a row. And again, I want to say, what the fuck is wrong with a huge portion of the American public? This is not okay.
This is not okay.
That is the least egregious of what this man has done.
That's
But
true.
I wanted to trot it out to let you know this is a preschool. This is a preschool person that has to wear diapers because he's so old he shits his pants, allegedly. I've heard this all over. I mean, that's what everybody's saying is Donald Trump says.
Everybody's saying.
Everybody's saying he's a poo-poo diaper guy, and that's why he's got all this fly swarming him, as, hard-hitting journalist Pumps just said. He cannot pronounce Pete Buttigieg, and he's running for president. And then he has the audacity to criticize and demonize and dehumanize immigrants that speak 2 languages with an accent, while always overlooking the fact that his wife is an immigrant that speaks with an accent.
Wife.
And so this is the time that we're going to start pounding this drum. Donald Trump is Donald Trump. But for those of you considering voting for him, who are you? Mm-hmm. Who are you as a person? You're going to do much better economically under a Democrat. We're going to be a much safer, kinder nation under a Democrat. And she is a capable, willing, and able leader. So if you want to go vote for Trump, put out your Trump flag. Don't be a secret, embarrassed Trump voter. Put out that fucking freak flag. Own it. Own every drop of it. But one day, you're going to have to reconcile this desire of yours to traffic and recreational cruelty, because that's all it is straight up Nazi cruelty.
Absolutely. It's dangerous. It's scary. And the more sinister part are the people voting for him and the Republican enablers in the Congress.
All right, to support our show, make sure you like and subscribe and leave a little comment to help us in the algorithm. And we're feeling really ambitious, and we're thinking about dropping 2 per day until the election if time allows. See you guys later.
It's so